Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ScrapMan, bringing you another episode of Satisfactory, and we've got a lot to talk about today, because after the last episode where we started building over this crater, after that recording, I did a little bit more work and organization with production and stuff in preparation for this episode, which I then recorded 2.5 hours of, and then filled up my hard drive and crashed my recording program, losing all 2.5 hours of the recording. So for this episode, I'm gonna update you on everything that happened, and that combined like maybe 5 hours of work, and then we're gonna see where that leaves us. So first off, I did finish covering the entire crater pretty much. So if you look underneath here, you can see pretty much, yeah, the entire thing is covered almost edge to edge. I will get that slug down there at some point, by the way. And then what I did was I actually continued production systems over here to get myself all of the things that we need for other layers of production to help us build our factory here. Because it's hard to build a factory if you don't have resources already in production. So this area is just completely filled up. Like, I'm using like all of the land here pretty much to produce all of the little individual things that we need from the basic ore production. So now we got wire going into various units. We've got rods, we've got plates, we got rods going over to produce screws there. We've got wire going over to produce cables over there. So I did bring copper in from way over here, if I can get myself over there. Yeah, so way over here, you can see we got our copper production coming in from that node there. So I also had to move the space elevator once again out of the way. So yeah, we pretty much have all of the basic things being produced now in here, and we can just kind of grab from that as we need it. So then I started recording, and I've made huge progress on the recording. I decided to focus on the space elevator hub upgrade. So we've upgraded to tiers 3 and 4. So now that enables us coal production, as well as access to the transport trucks and things like that. Now, I have not experimented with any of the transport trucks or anything yet, because I'm not sure really where to have them transport to or from yet. I could probably send them back to my previous base and pick up some things there. But as far as coal production goes, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coal generators here. And now I was wondering, when I got the coal production, it enables me to scan for coal. I'm like, okay, how far are we gonna have to get for coal? But it turns out, literally right next to our base, right on top of there, is a coal node. So I put a miner up there, and I have the coal feeding through a bunch of storage units and feeding down into here. And holy cow, are coal generators efficient on using coal? Because even with that one coal node feeding into all 6 generators, we are at a standstill on coal mining, because we could, I don't know how many coal generators you need to be able to burn 60 coal per second that these belts are going at. And even if that was the case, that coal can get produced at 120 per minute by our miner up there if we wanted to. So yeah, we have way more energy than we need now. You can see we are now at 300 megawatts, consuming 164 megawatts. We used to have, I think, 7 or 8 biomass burners that were producing like 100 and something megawatts, like maybe 120 megawatts was our max. So now we're producing way more than we even need, and it's infinite. We don't have to worry about refueling our power generators or anything like that, because it's just being fed in directly. So that was the biggest upgrade, perhaps, that we made in the episode that I lost, very sadly. So yeah, we unlocked coal power, which means we also have this truck station and tractor to look at. And we also unlocked the conveyor stackable poles and the belt Mark II, which is helping us with another area that I've worked on way over here. So you may remember that we were using 2 iron nodes, but we had 4 iron nodes in this area, which is why we chose it. And they were all normal purity. So I kept these 2 iron nodes doing what they're doing, producing the rods and the plates and the screws and everything like that. And I decided that I need to start producing reinforced plates and rotors automatically using the assemblers. So over here are the other two iron nodes. So this is actually where we're going to be feeding iron specifically for assemblers. So kind of like the next tier of iron production. So we're going to keep our basic iron production over on these two nodes, and these are going to be the more complicated ones. So here's how I've had to organize this. Since we don't actually really have a factory organized yet. I'm a little bit overwhelmed on how we're going to organize the factory so far. But I just wanted to start producing as many different types of things as we can so we can just have it automatically running as much as possible while we're trying to figure out the logistics of everything else. That way, we have some things being stored and stuff. So you can see I got the iron feeding through some storage here. And this is getting split off into smelters at 100% efficiency. And then they are being fed back in at a constant rate into storage. And then these two smelters are feeding out into 4 constructors so that they can be producing a constant rate of iron rods. So then these 2 constructors are feeding iron rods directly into that assembler, while these 2 constructors are taking those iron rods and turning them into screws. And these screws are actually on Mark II belts going into the assemblers. So we got an assembler over there taking rods and screws, and we got an assembler over here taking screws and plates. And those plates are being produced by these 2 constructors, which are being fed from those 2 smelters over there. And I'm pretty sure that we're at 100% efficiency on these as well. So we're doing really, really well as far as efficiency and stuff goes, and our production rates pretty much. So yeah, we're pretty much producing as much as we can. These assemblers, however, are not taking as many screws as they could be taking, so they're not at 100% efficiency. Yeah, because these belts are pretty much pushing out 90 screws per minute, but they could be taking a max of 120 per minute here and 132 per minute here. But 90 per minute is the maximum that these belts are going to push out at. So then this one is producing rotors, and this one is producing iron plates, reinforced iron plates rather, and then they are feeding up into these storage units, which I'm probably never going to fill up because production is just super slow. So then this row of 3 down here is responsible for collecting rotors, and this row of 3 up here is responsible for collecting reinforced iron plates. And I think that pretty much updates you on everything we've done since the last episode and during the recording that I lost. Man, this is just chaos though. This whole section with the concrete and the iron and the copper all leading into this one area. So now what I want to do is figure out how trucks work. I've never used the trucks before. I was going to say like we could use trucks to go to another coal node, because if you look, the coal nodes are extremely far away other than this one right here. However, this one is producing more than we need right now, so we can still afford a lot of factories. So we have 800 meters in that direction, and then like 1,400 or something somewhere else. Oh, there we go. 1,500 over in that direction, which is a crazy amount of distance. So I figure what we're going to focus on then is getting the rest of our upgrades for tier 3 and 4. Even tier 2, we could still upgrade a bunch. Oh yeah, this is what I actually wanted to do, was I wanted to get overclocking because I want to overclock the screw production so we can get more quicker production on our assemblers. So there's that, and I also want to do improved melee combat because this allows us to get +5 inventory slots and a Xenobasher, which I think is really good. So we can also eventually get steel production, and this is going to add like a whole nother complexity to our production chains. So I'm assuming that the foundry is going to take like steel and something else and produce motors and stuff with it. Oh man, it's going to take a lot of space to feed everything into everything else into everything else. Like, look at all these new parts that we're going to have to be making. So I want to try to figure out, I don't know how I'm going to do this yet. I'm not, like I said, this is like the first factory kind of game I've really played. All of the logistics and stuff is something that I'm kind of learning for the first time. But I would like to be able to create a modular base design where if I can get more resources coming in, I don't have to restructure anything. I could just add another layer or something like that. So I think I might have to think about vertical stacking. All right, so I need to go get myself some iron plates and a bunch of stuff so I can unlock things here. So I think I'm gonna prioritize though, this one So we need 10 modular frames and 25 rotors. We already got plenty of rotors. What does it take to make the modular frames? We need reinforced iron plates and rods. Oh, I can actually make all that right here. All right, I just realized that our plate production has halted because our storage is completely full of plates. So I'm gonna add some more storage up here. All right, there we go. We got another row of 3 storage units that are just gonna be filled with plates. Okay, so now I think we should have enough to increase our inventory, which is gonna be amazing. There we go. Select milestone. Let's do it. All right. Inventory has been increased.
Milestone reached.
That's gonna feel good there. All right. Improved Xeno Zapper. I really want that. Xeno Basher. All right. We need 2 Xeno Zappers, so I can go ahead and make one of those right now. And then we need 4 more modular frames, and I think I can make that right now as well. All right, and now we have a Xeno Basher. Ooh, fancy. Oh, that feels good. Listen to that. Look at the little wrench hanging off of it. You can kind of wave it around a little bit. Woo! 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 Okay. Let's stop getting distracted now. A rebar gun could be useful. That gives us ranged attack. However, steel production, we need the motors for our next space elevator phase. So for phase 2, to unlock tiers 5 and 6, we definitely need motors. So we're gonna have to unlock this soon, and we can. It doesn't take that much to build more modular frames. However, we still have a few more things to unlock here, like the wire, but we have to wait 8 minutes. Oh, we have to wait 8 minutes for this to come back? Okay. Ooh, we can also unlock conveyor belt Mark III. 270 resources per minute, although nothing we're doing right now requires us to do 270 resources per minute anyway. While we're waiting for our pod to come back, I'm gonna figure out how trucks work, and we might set it up so that we can get resources from our old area and bring them back here. So to build a truck station, oh, we're gonna need a bunch of modular frames. Whoa, we need a bunch of beacons for a tractor? That's interesting. All right, yeah, so a bunch of modular frames. Let's see what we can do with those. I can make 25 right now, so that should be good enough. All right, so I'm just gonna build this truck station temporarily for now, just to analyze how it works. All right, configure truck station. Fuel? We gotta give it fuel? I don't like how we have to give it fuel. Okay. Like, does it take coal? Here, I'm gonna go to my coal burners, and I'm gonna take some coal from them, see if we can put coal in this. All right, can I put coal in this thing? I can put coal in this. Okay, that's good. And that's the great thing about this area is I'm gonna have a ton of coal storage up there because we have a backup. So we're gonna have 4 storage units worth of coal. What do you do? Drive? Oh, we can drive it? Oh, we need to put coal in it. Hold on. Let's get the coal out of here. Whoa, we have a workbench on this thing? That is interesting. Vehicle. There we go. So now we can put fuel in the vehicle itself. Drive tractor. Oh, wow. We're driving. Okay. Vehicle path not recording. How do you record vehicle path? I don't understand how this works yet. Oh, we can honk. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Clear path, start recording. Disable autopilot. Okay. So we actually have to drive the path, but what I'm curious about is how do you park it in a way that it's going to receive from here? All right, we're just going to temporarily provide power to this thing because I want to figure out how it works. If we drive up to here, can we connect to it somehow? Okay. Oh, so then that, put it in here. All right, so then we just have to record the path for the autopilot to go on. All right, that's starting to make sense now. Let's go ahead and deconstruct these. Okay, well, I think our drop pod is back, so let's go ahead and get our overclocking so that we can actually do some of that now. There we go. Overclocking is now possible, so I think we actually have a bunch of slugs in here. And then we should be able to make that here now. 10 power shards. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we now have a bunch of power shards. So I'm going to increase the screw production going into our assemblers so we can maximize their output. Okay, we actually have to increase a lot of production going all the way back down the line into there. Because these are receiving at 100% efficiency. But we have 10 power shards, so I think it's good to, we can just put them in all of them. So 150%, but it is not actually going to be producing 150% yet. So it goes from outputting 15 to outputting 22 per minute. However, I'm pretty sure it is only receiving 15 because this is outputting 15 per minute. So this needs to also output 22 per minute. There we go. Outputting 22 per minute. 135 screws per minute. That's perfect. All right. So now this can receive 22.5 iron per minute. This is where things are going to get a little bit different because it's only receiving 15 iron per minute because this is being broken up 4 ways. So we actually have to make one of these be dedicated to those 2 constructors in particular. All right, I see what's going on here now. So that means we delete this. This keeps going into these 2, but this one has to be rerouted from there straight to here, and then that's going to be split into those 2. So this can take 22, this can take 22. So that means that they can take 44 total, and this is outputting 30. So we're going to go ahead and give this another power shard, and we're going to have it output. Now it should go 45. Oh, perfect. So now this can take in 45 ore per minute. However, it is only receiving 30 per minute. It's only receiving 30 per minute from here. And then this is where things are going to get a little bit weird because it's going to make production less efficient on one of the areas, even though it's going to be more efficient here. Why can't I put a power shard there? Oh, there we go. All right, so now this is producing 90 per minute, which means these belts need to be upgraded to Mark II, and that belt needs to be upgraded to Mark II. So now it is producing 90 per minute, which means it goes into here, splits off 45 and 45. This one's not going to be able to handle the 45 since it can only take 30, but its end line can only take that much anyway. So I think we've increased the efficiency then of these to be closer to 100% because they're outputting 135 screws per minute, and they're going in here at 120 per minute and here at 132 per minute, I'm pretty sure. Actually, it's going at 120 per minute into both of these because these are Mark II belts. Okay. All right, that makes sense. But now, either way, they should be producing at a faster rate than they were before because they're receiving the appropriate amount of screw output. All right, excellent. Now we can go back and check out what we have left for upgrades because our pod is back. Oh, look at this. Steel production. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're going to upgrade a lot here. A lot is going to be exposed to us in just a second, and it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, but we got to do it. We got to do it. Here it is. Steel production milestone unlocked. Reached. Oh boy. All right, let's check our crafting bench here. We can now do steel ingot, which takes iron ore and coal. Oh, no way. Another... Okay, we need to actually input coal and iron ore? That's interesting. Because so far, all of our iron ore is being produced into something. We don't just have stores of iron ore laying around necessarily. Okay, that's going to make things interesting. And then coal has to be routed somewhere else other than power. All right, steel beam takes steel ingots. Steel pipe takes steel ingots. Encased industrial beam takes steel beam and concrete. Oh, things are getting very complicated. This takes steel pipe and wire. The motor takes rotors and sator. Oh man, that sator goes all the way down to coal. Heavy modular frame. Oh boy. Takes encased industrial beam and steel pipe. Man, it takes a lot to make these motors. I need to make 50 of these motors for our next phase. Now is where we really have to start organizing a factory and bringing in a lot of ore. All right, so let's check out the new buildings that we can produce now. So we now have Miner Mark II, which can extract 120 resources per minute, depending on the node purity. And this, ooh, man, this requires these. Okay. And then the foundry requires encased industrial beam and steel pipe. So presumably this is what we can make steel ingots out of. We need a foundry to make steel ingots. All right, so what I think I want to do is I want to build everything we need without any inputs yet. Before I start rerouting anything from over there, I want to have everything in place and route it into itself. So that way, all I have to do is reconnect the miners to the input, and then everything will just be working. So we're basically going to be focusing first on just starting at step 1 and working our way down the chain to figure out how this is all going to have to get mapped out. Oh, here's the good question. How tall is a constructor? Like, where can we build the next floor? So now if we get walls out, let's just take this wall here. All right, I'm just going to build a wall straight up like that. And now where can our foundations? Nope, not there. All right, so it looks like that is how tall our foundations have to be to go over a constructor. Now, can we fit a smelter under here? What production things can we fit under here? All right, a smelter can fit under here. Yes, an assembler can fit under here. And what about a foundry? Oh no, foundries cannot fit under there. Can't afford. Encroaching. Oh, yes, it can fit under here. Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out what is the minimum ceiling height to be able to fit everything on a floor. And it looks like this is it. So I can have 2 layers of storage. All right, so this is how I'm thinking I'm going to do my storage. 5 on the bottom, 4 on the top. And the reason being is that what I can do is I can have the ore, essentially it's going to come into there. And then what it does is it's going to feed down this loop here over to this one. This one goes to that one. That one goes to that one. And now with 4 across like this, that allows me to actually feed down without it being too steep, because it would be too steep to go into 3, too steep to go into there. And obviously you can't just go straight down. But this essentially allows us to have 9 storage units all feeding into each other. And then this single one is going to be the last one, the output. And now what I'm thinking I'm going to do is do the same thing, but reversed. All right, there we go. Check it out. So we can have 1 feed in there, 1 feed in there, and they will both come down to these 2 storages right next to each other to then output into whatever we need them to output. So this is the first step in the process for 2 iron nodes feeding into these storage units. And my plan is to have the iron nodes be producing at a higher rate than whatever I'm going to be pushing them into. That way, these will back up with iron storage. And at some point, we can then hopefully reroute some of the iron over to what we need, like the basic iron ore for. Okay, so here's the plan. That storage leads into these 3 smelters. That storage leads into these 3 smelters. This is a Mark II conveyor belt at 120 units per second. So this will get split between this direction and this direction, meaning 60 will go into here, which will put this one getting twice as much as it can really take, unless we overclock it. And then 60 will go over here, which will then break it up into 30 going into here, which will put it at 100% efficiency, 30 going over here, and into this one going at 100% efficiency, which is why I have these ones at just normal Mark I conveyor belts instead of Mark II. So that's kind of my basic plan now, and then we can have a construction section in front of this somehow, and as I go down the line, this is feeling a lot more and more complicated, and this is probably not the most efficient way to do it, but it's just kind of like my first thought process of how I might be able to do this. So I guess I'll ask for your feedback on, do you think I should continue with this design here, or do you have better logistical design ideas to optimize input and output through all the different stages, getting all the different parts? Because we have to go up to like steel and stuff, which is going to be interesting. But I'm super excited about the coal production. We have unlimited energy now. Don't have to worry about refilling biofuel generators and stuff. So let me know if you have any advice for the next episode. This has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.